There you go. There you go. Now I'm back.
There we go.
I will wait for people to join. I'll make sure to pause and we'll have to ask questions and talk about things that we have heard in this because I don't want to just watch it. We are back. I found a YouTube video. It's not as long, but we'll watch this instead. It should hopefully work out because it's a YouTube video, so it should be okay. We're going to watch this one instead, but I will be pausing and asking questions, so because it has to be transformative. I can't just sit here and watch the whole thing.
Apparently.
Right.
And Susan, as more details are revealed in this disturbing case, the intrigue just deepens. We now know of at least 2 people who have been questioned by authorities, and both of their attorneys insisting they had no involvement in this crime.
Hello
Yes,
everyone, my name is Kevin and thanks for stopping by. Here at Just Thought Lounge, we like to take a look at engaging cases that hopefully raise a few thought-provoking questions. Today's case certainly does that. 33-year-old Rachel Del Tondo was killed outside her home in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania on the 13th of May 2018. As of the publication of this video, her case remains open and the investigation is still active. Officially, no one has been named a person of interest. Depending on how you look at it, however, there are either multiple suspects in this case, or the official narrative that there are no suspects at all. Part of what stands out about this case is how all of those involved are interconnected. In this relatively small town, everyone seems to know everyone, which confuses the picture of what happened here quite a bit. You'll see what I mean. Without further delay, this is the tragic and messy story of Rachel Del Tondo.
There you go. I've modded Michelle, I've modded Susan, and I've modded you.
Aliquippa is a relatively small-sized town with a population of under 10,000 residents. It's been described as a town built on steel but sustained through football. Built around the once profitable steel industry, Aliquippa has seen a decline in...
Football's really big in America compared to here. Like, I don't understand the whole cult following around football.
its prosperity over the last few decades. Where it has excelled is in 2 very distinct areas: producing pro-American football players through their renowned high school program, and at registering extremely high crime rates. Statistics for violent crime in the area are so high that they rival the largest cities in America, and not just on a relative scale.
Seeing a little community of people.
But the neighborhood in Aliquippa where Rachel grew up was a family area. It was mostly quiet. Rachel was an elementary school teacher at the Pennsylvania Cyber Charter School in Midland, which is near her home in Aliquippa. Rachel has been described as poised and charismatic with a big heart, and she absolutely loved children. At the age of 33, she still lived with her parents, Lisa and Joe. They were a traditional Italian family and household. As such, Rachel didn't think that she should move out until she was married. This arrangement was agreeable to everyone. Rachel had a great...
Michelle, many poor families push their kids into it. So is it... I'm guessing there's a whole thing around football where... Because I know you can get, like, scholarships and stuff into colleges for football. And I know that's, like, a whole thing, right? And I don't think... You get, like, sports scholarships here, but not for... that. I think
they're not as common.
No, they're definitely not as common. But in America, they're like an entire. It's industry. Like really competitive in America.
Scholarships change lives
Yeah, and American football's quite dangerous as well, isn't it? Like you can, like there was that case of that guy. Oh, Eminem always mentions him in his songs. I forgot his name, but he ended up becoming paralyzed, didn't he?
The highest rate of concussions of any sport.
Are you going to do more live riots? That was great. Well,
If the opportunity arises
yeah, if
where
the
we won't
opportunity
get nicked for it,
arises, most likely, but we are going as we're trying to stay impartial as much as possible. We will be doing more live streams if more protests and riots come up, but we're not going to travel the country going to every riot because
it's a very tricky slope to navigate at the moment because
Yeah.
people are already being arrested for just being there now.
yeah,
So it's a very difficult slope to navigate going
yeah,
forward.
exactly. But we definitely will. If, as I said, if the opportunity arises, we definitely will.
I need to find Orange T-shirt guy. I need to put out a plea, seeing if anything. Because that him masturbating at the camera, going dickhead,
sure-
was probably my favourite thing.
I'm sure. I don't know if it's that same guy, but I am sure when we were in town and you were talking to the guy that had the Karl Marx stall up in town, I'm sure he was the guy that came over to us
Was
and started.
abusing him.
Yeah, I'm sure he's the same guy.
It's also on her channel, Big Cat. But yeah, it's definitely walking on eggshells. It's a really, as someone who wants
Yeah.
to get information to the public currently, it is very, very tricky in the UK to walk on the eggshells that are being laid out in front of you.
Yeah, 100%. I would rather not get arrested for attending such events, but we will definitely if the opportunity arises, we'll live stream something like that again. But I think the riots in the UK are dying down now. I don't think we'll see, especially with it coming into like winter months as well. I don't think we'll be seeing many more. But you never know. If it happens, it happens.
Relationship with her parents and was exceptionally close with her mother. In 2016, it looks like Rachel was set to make the move from her parents' home after all. Her longtime boyfriend, successful local businessman Frank Katropa, flew her off to Paris and proposed marriage. Rachel accepted and began planning an extensive and beautiful Italian wedding. Plans appeared to be moving along at a clip. Rachel had placed a down payment on a nearly $10,000 designer wedding dress, purchased $3,000 shoes, and locations for the ceremony and receptions were scoped and deposits made. Then, Frank asked Rachel,
Where is she getting that money from? Because she's a supposed substitute teacher. So how is she getting $3,000 shoes? Like,
Yeah, that is kind of fishy, isn't it?
for a prenuptial agreement. At this point, plans came to an abrupt halt. Frank says at first, Rachel did not mind the idea that much. It was her parents, he said, particularly her mother, that took offense and found it unacceptable. Rachel's mind had been turned, and she refused to sign any agreement. The two did not officially end their relationship,
Because
however, but they did begin to backpedal on the wedding plans. Rachel and her mother became embroiled
Frank
in a
had
very
the money,
public spat with
okay.
the dress designer over their deposit. A nasty back and forth ensued. Lisa utilized the local press to publicly shame the designer's policy and pressure them into providing a refund. The tactic worked. The Del Tondos eventually received the money back, and Frank canceled everything else. Although the wedding was set aside, the two thought that they might get back together, but time would tell. They continued talking and spending time together. There was one incident that had been bothering Frank, however, and he felt that he needed to first resolve his doubts about it before considering a full reconciliation with Rachel. In February 2016, police found Rachel and Aliquippa Senior High School student Sheldon Jeter Jr., who was 17 years old at the time, in a steamed-up car parked in an otherwise empty lot at almost 2 a.m. in the morning. Rachel told Officer Kenneth Watkins that they were just talking. There was nothing inappropriate going on at all. Sheldon had been upset and she was helping him out. That's it. She also asked if the officers, whom she and Frank knew personally, could please refrain from telling her fiance what had happened because if he found out, he would be
I've
mad at
already
her.
got a couple of
It did not
tea.
look good, but the officers
Meatball.
accepted Rachel's explanation. They drove Sheldon home, and no charges were filed. Perhaps not surprisingly, Rachel did not fess up to Frank about the help that she was providing to Sheldon. He found out about the incident secondhand from a mutual friend.
You're welcome.
Rachel insisted the situation was completely innocent, so for a time at least, Frank accepted this and the two continued to see each other. Sheldon, however, did not appear to get the memo. He seemed to believe his relationship with Rachel was not entirely innocent. According to Lisa Del Tondo, Sheldon was overly emotional and confused.
So, what I've gathered from that is they were found in a steamed up car. So is that, do you think that's indicative they did do things in that car? Or, because
I mean, I've been in a few cars that have seen that, and normally it's because the lads are having a bit of a hotbox sesh and everyone's getting a bit crazy and talking loads. But you gotta be sat there for a while to be steaming up, and it's condensation, so there needs to be sweat for it to get to that point.
It was 2:00 in the morning. They were found in a steamed up car at 2:00 in the morning, and she says that this is my first mystery. Yeah, so she says that they were just talking, but it was 2:00 in the morning in a steamed up car. So people have presumed that they were obviously going at it, but cold weather, yeah, anything is possible. I mean,
there's a lot of factors at play, but normally if a car's steamed up and there's only two people inside, it kind of indicates one thing, really, doesn't it?
Something's been going on, yeah. I mean, I think, what's the age of consent in Pennsylvania? Because I know different states have different ages of consent.
Old, isn't it, in the US?
No, there's different states. Some is 17, some is 16, some's 18, some, I think some are 21. Michelle, you might know, you should know, age of consent, Pennsylvania.
Oh, you couldn't
16.
convince me to drink sherry. Oh, it's 16.
16. So he was 17 at the time, so I guess nothing would have... So there's no, legal complications for her there, other than the fact that she was a substitute teacher, but was he one of her students? Because that's a whole different manner of speaking. If he was one of her students, then...
Breach of position, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, that's a very hard one to, because I don't like assuming in that situation, but because if both of them were fully clothed, they were just sat there when they were found,
I mean, he only needs about 3 minutes, so.
In an illustrative example, Sheldon turned up at the Del Tondo residence one day unannounced and intoxicated, insisting he see Rachel. When told that Rachel could not see him, he banged on every window in the house before leaving. Lisa used an air gun to frighten him away.
An air gun?
In October 2017, Frank decided to get to the bottom of the issue. Turning up at the Aliquippa Police Department, he requested to see the officer's report from that night detailing what they had seen between Rachel and the teen. A formal approval process and request is required to obtain these types of police records. Accounts from the Aliquippa police on that day vary regarding who in the department allowed Frank access to the paperwork. The assistant chief, Percival, claimed Chief Couch was close friends with Frank. "It's Frankie, just give it to him," he says.
You can't just, you can't just go into a police department. No matter, that's probably because his dad was a retired police officer, right? You can't just go into a police station and be like, I want the paperwork on what you saw that night. That's very demanding. You can't just do
I'm not
that.
sure how it works in the US.
I'm sure there's a
you might
legal
be able to get
process. It's Frankie, just give it to him. And he's got no legal obligation either because he's not family. He's not related to her. They're not married yet, so there's no legal obligation to actually for him to do that. Because that's like me. I could turn up to a police station, or like say I'm in America, I could turn up to a police station and say, I want to know everything about this case, you need to give me the paperwork now. I don't think that's there's like procedures and stuff you've got to go through, right?
Regardless, no formal request was made, but Frank left the station that day with the documents. And he was visibly upset. The version of events set out in the report did not align with Rachel's version. Apparently, she told Frank that they were discovered much earlier in the night, not 2 a.m. for one. And they were not in a parking lot of a store retailer, but an abandoned lot of an old hospital much farther out. To add to the confusion, the report was not written directly following the incident. It was written more than a year later. Despite police insistence that they found no crime had taken place and no charges needed to be made, they, for some inexplicable reason, decided more than a year later that the encounter needed to be documented. Frank and Rachel do not reconcile, and any hope...
Sorry, but that's suspicious in itself. A year later, you decide to write the report when you can't... Unless body cam was being recorded, the human mind and the human memory is very confusing. So you could think that you remember something and write it down in your report, but it never actually happened. So why would you, as a police officer, you need to do that straight away. You can't just write a report a year later and then be like, oh yeah, here you go, here's the report, because you could fabricate anything in that report.
You could also omit lots of information as well and redact quite a lot of information.
Yeah. We need body cam footage, that's all I'm saying. If there's body cam footage, that would kind of, if that was released, that would
tie it all in, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because there's a lot of assumptions made there. Even in that police report, there's probably a lot of assumptions made there. So
hope of restarting wedding plans is lost. But this becomes the least of Rachel's issues. Only a few days after Frank received the documents in November 2017, the report detailing, if nothing else, her very poor judgment is leaked across the town. Emails and text messages from blocked and unknown phone numbers send the report to the mayor, to the news media, and directly to Rachel's friends. The cyber charter school where Rachel worked is also a recipient. She is suspended from her job. The Del Tondos believe that Frank was the source of this leak. Frank denies it.
Attorney David Lozier called a personal vendetta.
As you all probably know, there was a family, some family members that were angry at her over some personal issues.
The district attorney called this a personal vendetta. Was he referring to your client?
He was not. He was not.
Cotropa and his attorney addressed the matter, saying the breakup with Del Tondo had nothing to do with Jeter, and Cotropa knows nothing about the murder.
We wanted to be very, very clear publicly that Frank Cotropa has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with what happened.
did you see how freaked out he looked at the camera then?
Didn't he?
Watch his face on the right. As soon as he was like, he knows nothing about the murder. Look
And Cotropa knows nothing about the murder.
We wanted to be very, very clear publicly
he
that
well
Frank
freaked
Cotropa
out.
has absolutely nothing
That
whatsoever
was
to do
like-
with what happened.
That was like a physical Freudian slip, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Rachel began to see her life fall apart. Her relationship with Frank was forever ruined. Many of her friendships crumbled alongside her reputation, and her career was crushed. She sought professional help to make it through her mental struggles. While Rachel battled to cope, her mother became proactive. Just as she had sought out a local reporter to force the wedding dress designer into a refund, she seeks out another investigative reporter to take aim at the Aliquippa
Don't
Police
worry,
Department
Susan.
and others in the town. Lisa claimed that mountains of corruption
I
were
have
at
to
work
deal
within
with
the
this
police
on a
department
daily
in league
basis.
with other players, including one local businessman, Frank Cotropa.
You're
The
right,
exact
Nick. I
accusations against
definitely
Frank
feel
are
like the police
uncertain,
are
but
involved
in
in this
December
one way or another.
2017, the state police do step in to launch a formal investigation of the Aliquippa police following the leak. Rachel Del Tondo agreed to be a cooperating
that's
witness.
saving face. That there was a leak, so they decided to look into it after the leak. That's just them saving face. I doubt they did a proper investigation. They probably leaked to the news that they were going to search his house, and then so it could be recorded that they're searching his house, and then they'll probably just give all of his stuff back like the next day without even looking into
Probably
it.
went for a friendly chat. You know what they're like. They went for a friendly chat, told him exactly what's been leaked,
Yeah.
and then covered it all up.
Yeah, that's most likely the case there.
And speaks with the state police. In February 2018, an unnamed member of the police department was reprimanded for the leak, and that official investigation closed. However, in early March, search warrants for municipal buildings in Aliquippa were issued by state police as part of a wider investigation into the city. The leak investigation may have ended, but a larger investigation into the city was only beginning. Rachel remained a witness and was queued up to testify about what she knew of the city corruption, particularly the Aliquippa Police Department. Rachel told family members as well as the investigative reporter that she thought she was being followed by the police. Her mother says she was deathly afraid of the police after receiving death threats. Rachel received one text to her phone that told her that she would not live to see the end of 2018. Her aunt has also confirmed publicly that Rachel told her of these threats, but says that she now regrets saying anything.
So, I don't know how much truth there is behind that with her saying she feels like she's being followed by the police, because when you're going out there's going to be patrols and stuff, especially if you're in a small town like this place seems to be. You just seeing like a state car going past even multiple times, if she's paranoid about what she's doing with this whole investigative journalist investigation, that could just be a bit of paranoia that's sinking in there, especially if she's already getting death threats, because she was getting death threats and stuff before the whole investigative journalist side came in, right? When the whole town found out about her supposed incident with the 17-year-old, she said that she went and got professional help for her mental health because she was getting nasty text messages and stuff. So could it just be blending everything together and she's just paranoid?
I think there's two angles to split this banana, aren't there? She's paranoid because she knows somebody's watching, or she's paranoid because somebody is following her, or it could be a mixture of the both. It's never as clear cut as you'd be led to believe.
Oh yeah, that is definitely a crime we need to investigate, Susan. You don't like custard, meatball? How? How can you be British and not like custard?
Custard on a sticky toffee pudding, or a Victoria sponge with jam? Huh? What do you mean?
Saw two policemen, supposedly CID, yesterday holding a dark guy in a wood where I walked my dog. They said F off.
That's wild. Becoming more and more common as the days go on as well.
That's crazy. There's truth to it because, well, she's dead now. She knew those cops were dirty. Yeah, no, obviously there is truth to it in some capacity because she obviously got killed, but I think, as just playing devil's advocate, assuming that the police were following her can be, I won't say a stretch because they could have been. They could have just, when they saw her out and about, they could have been keeping an eye on her to see what she was doing, maybe just to see if they could catch her doing something with the 17-year-old again, or see if they could catch her doing something to kind of discredit her. Following her around to kill her, I think, is a stretch because they're police.
The only reason why she would get killed is because she knew something they didn't want getting out, and state-sanctioned killings, or these false killings, there's been several of them that have made it to the courts in recent years in the US. There's been lots of officers involved in drug and gang violence. The American government was involved in flooding crack into the streets of, of ethnic neighborhoods. So I would be more inclined, knowing what they are up to, on mass
Yeah.
scale, at a government level, you now take away the government power, but you put it in a small state where these people are dealing with the dealers and the criminals, and they're taking payments under the table and whatnot. I would be so inclined to believe that people, especially since his dad was a copper, having
Yeah.
lifelong friends at that station.
And the fact that he walked into the police station, requested the paperwork, and they were like, "Oh, it's him. Just give it to him." Like, it's Frankie. Just give it to him. He definitely has friends high up in that town. That's the problem with small towns, isn't it? Like, everyone knows everyone, and if you've had CIA, if you've had lifelong
Law
friendships with
enforcement's
these
a big
people,
gang, isn't it, in the US? There's a lot of. I saw recently a story of a policeman that was actually stealing drugs from enemy drug dealer gangs, and then it was suddenly going missing from evidence and was turning up in the hands of the other drug dealers, and he was taking a policeman that I think he was on $55,000 a year or whatever. Suddenly, he was buying Dodge Chargers and lovely Ford cars and moved into a half a million dollar house. And where did that all come from? So, you know.
Yeah. So your father was a policeman, a detective. Oh wow. So I'm pro cop, but when they are dirty, as in this department, I understand how these cops can protect themselves, their families. Yeah. So that is
Have fun on your dog walk, big cat.
Have fun on your dog
Nice
walk.
to see
Hopefully
you.
you see some big cats.
You set the dog on it. It'd be chasing a puma.
Yeah, no, that is a good point. I just like playing devil's advocate in this situation. Everything points to the department being dirty as all hell, but like playing devil's advocate, it's because you kind of have to see what other people who looking in might counter with. See, that's what I like to do in my videos. I like playing devil's advocate because there are people who might try and counter with different points, like she was paranoid. There was probably an
Perception
element.
is also subjective as well. If you look at it from people of all walks of life, perception is definitely subjective. Your perception of the same events as someone who was stood right next to you, according to your beliefs and thoughts, are going to be wholly different. Even if you saw the exact same event, your perception is going to be different based off of your beliefs.
I'm not ageist. I'm just not being as old as you. There are ties in this case to the county district attorney.
It's the county district attorney.
Knew more about all the corruption. Yeah, so because when that thing that I read earlier where Frank was like, I'm not a cop, so how can I be corrupt? But he was a business entrepreneur, right? So he grew quite quickly in his business. Could that be because he knew of quite a lot of the corruption that was going on, so he was like,
managed to capitalize on it?
Yeah, he was able to capitalize quite easily on that, or he was involved with some corrupt
He
cops
could have
who
made sizable donations. This is one thing we don't really have in the UK, but in the US, I'm sure Michelle can confirm this, but there's basically ways to buy off the police with charitable donations and fundraisers for your local department. It basically buys you a certain amount of immunity where if you make contributions and you promote, it's almost like a pageant, like a fashion contest, where they even have placards that go up in the local police station. Who's donated the most money? Who's the biggest supporter of the local station?
I know that to be true because Mr. Beast put a really big donation into his local police department, didn't he? And there's a plaque to Mr. Beast.
That's what allowed him to have Arak arrested, another YouTuber arrested and taken to the holding cells for a joke. So, you know,
it wasn't Arak. It was the other way around, wasn't it? Arak got Mr. Beast arrested.
Oh yeah, it was Arak. It was Arak that made the donation. You're right.
Yeah, but it's the same sort of situation. Just yeah. So that's that. I obviously that didn't even counter in that as a factor. Yeah. So if he's made substantial donations to that police department, which he most likely has, considering his father was a police, and he has friends in the police anyway, I'm assuming he's definitely managed to capitalize on any corruption that was, like, if he did I won one of the S24s. Did you?
No way.
I'm guessing you never got it though, because you're in the UK, and in the fine print they were like, you have to be American, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of people that didn't receive them.
Because that was like a whole controversy thing, wasn't it? That he was doing these he was doing like these competitions where you could win things, but then unless you were in the UK or US, you never got it. That's mad. I've never actually known anyone to win anything from Mr. Beast. I always thought it was like a massive scam.
The Brady list.
The Brady list? Hold on, let me look into that.
Oh, so it's a list of dishonest police officers that district attorneys keep, which is called the Brady or Giglio list, or just Brady's list. Which is impeachment orders on local police officers.
You got it. You're using it now. What? You actually got it?
What?
I can't go on to this apparently. Arizona Brady list. Public disclosure of police misconduct and exculpatory evidence. The system was established. Okay.
Maybe this is something you can delve into as well with Michelle's help, because she's stateside, like she's local. So maybe we could actually delve into the corruption side of
100%.
Local police enforcement.
You need a VPN. I have a VPN, I think, but
She doesn't really use it all that much because I make my own VPNs, so I'll have to enable it for her and set it all up. But I'm so tired, I can't be bothered.
I can't be bothered. I'll go on the Wikipedia. There you go. In the legal system of the United States, a Brady disclosure consists of exculpatory or impeaching information, evidence that is material to the guilt or innocence, or to the punishment of a defendant. The term comes from the 1963 US Supreme Court case Brady v. Maryland, in which the Supreme Court ruled the suppression by the prosecution of evidence favourable to a defendant who has requested it violates due process. The prosecutor must disclose evidence or information that will prove the innocence of the defendant. I think that's different than the Brady list, right? That's disclosure.
Yeah. Oh, you can attend UK police misconduct hearings. That's interesting. I wasn't aware of that. Well, thank you all for being a hub of information.
I would
We're learning so much.
I would love to go to something like that. I doubt you could record something like that though. I reckon that's very like hush hush. You wouldn't be able to record that. See if this link works. That's literally what I just tried going on.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah, see, that's literally what I just tried going on, but it unfortunately I cannot.
What I'll do is I'll set up the VPN and we'll do a video just on the Brady list stuff.
Yeah, so what is a Brady list? The Brady list is the previous name for the potential police officers and others where there could be potential impeachment material in a court case. Yeah, okay, so that is you can't video record, but I think audio might be possible in written notes.
That might be worth doing.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I wonder if I could ever go to a police misconduct hearing, because I don't think you get many of them down here, and if you do, it's very hush hush until like it comes out in the news. So I think is that something that you would have to, I'm guessing you would have to go beforehand and have like a press pass, and you would have to make like
Well, you'd have to have a disclosure agreement as well, because obviously they
Yeah.
probably have to vet some of the information, so it's probably a whole due process. There's probably legal processes involved as well.
No, but thank you, Susan. That was really good information.
Insight.
That definitely will. We'll look
The day
into
that
a
Rachel
little
was
bit more
killed was
in
Mother's
new
Day in the
video,
US,
Evan.
the 13th of May, 2018.
Yeah,
Rachel
that'll
was
be
out
good
with
for
her
you to
friend Lauren
investigate, that's for
Watkins,
sure.
a 17-year-old who was an ex-student of hers. The two had since grown close. They had driven around town a bit chatting and then decided to go to Hank's Frozen Custard to grab some ice cream. They texted a mutual friend, Tyree Jeter, to see if he was interested in joining. The pair stopped off at
Oh.
Rachel's house very briefly so that she could
So
pick...
the misconduct hearings for each day are listed on a website.
Oh.
Fannie Willis is on the list, so it's interesting. Who's Fannie Willis? Is she the district attorney? Fannie is such a funny name to me.
It means something different in America as well. Fanny's like you.
Your butt in it. In
Yeah.
America.
In the UK, fanny means something that we all like to give a good old stroke every now and then.
So, do you know what website that is, Susan?
I'll do the due diligence for you. I'll pull it up now and send it to you on Discord.
Apply to attend a misconduct hearing. There you go.
They've got them for everyone as well. British Transport Police, Hampshire, Lancashire, West Yorkshire, North Yorkshire. They've got all of them.
So, if I just look, take a note of the officers' names and dates. Current list of upcoming police misconduct hearings. We did not find any results, so there's no misconduct hearings around us, apparently.
What a surprise.
Upcoming, at least. The last one was 19th of July 2024.
If you click the IOPC, there'll definitely be an IOPC hearing, because there's one for the officer that bashed Anne.
IOPC. To this one? I've gone very white because of the background on my
Light.
Independent members of misconduct panels must be at least 18 years of age and reside within. Yeah. Oh, so that's like you could be like on the panel.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad.
Ah, that's interesting. That'd be good to see if you could actually get a head
West
in there.
Midlands Police.
I'll take it. Thank you
Okay.
for that, Meeple. I'll take a look into the previous misconduct hearings as well, because she'll definitely be able to pull up some stuff for certain cases as well in certain districts and areas in the UK.
That, we can help you generate stories. I don't need. That is yeah. Wow, I'm gonna. Ooh. Yeah, that I didn't even know that you could do that.
Michelle's
thank
just
you
put
for
a really
that.
good point there. If many of the citizens went about fighting the crackdown on free speech by filing reports, legitimate ones, on cops, lawyers, and judges,
It may
that would
help.
be. Maybe we should do a video on that, how to report police misconduct and how to have it pushed publicly. Because I didn't know about that.
I
If I
didn't
told
know
my
about
dad,
that.
he probably wouldn't know about that. That needs to be pushed to a larger subset of people, so people understand the authority that you have as a civilian and
Yeah.
a member of the public.
I don't think that's just like public knowledge. I've never heard of that. Like that you can attend hearings.
Yeah, Michelle's spot
Starmer is
on.
a lawyer. He uses the law, so too can all of you. Yeah, that's exactly it. And did you know that Keir Starmer was the one that presided? He used to be a judge actually, and he was the one that presided over the Jimmy Savile case.
And resulted in him getting out.
Yeah, and he found him not guilty. I think it was, but I think we had a jury. Was it a jury or was it a private hearing where it was just the judge? I'm not sure, but he
I think it
presided
was a
over
private
him.
hearing.
Yeah, he presided over him being found not guilty, and then it all came out that he was guilty after he died.
I wouldn't say that's useless information, Susan. That's been
is
very enlightening.
not useless whatsoever.
I'm the same, don't worry about it. The cogs in my head are full of rust and mold.
Same. That should tell you everything you need to know. Yeah, thank you. I'll definitely look into that a little bit
Sweatshirt.
further.
Rachel told her mother that they were going to Hank's and said goodbye. They
that
picked
needs
up
to be
Tyree on
readily
the way
available
over.
public information.
It was about
I think
10:40
on
p.m.
your
when
channel,
Lauren and
babe, we'll focus on you doing a video of accountability, basically saying, look at this, you're able to do this as a member of public, and we should band together to do so.
Yeah, 100%. Because although I will say that going back to Dan, the guy who got arrested in our Plymouth protest live, he was arrested, but I'm sure people have seen the video of where he got bashed by that police officer beforehand, and I think in your live as well, he was stepping back. Dan was stepping back because Micro had actually gone up to him and been like, look mate, like, you're gonna get in trouble, like, just come back, like, stop it now, like, you're getting, Dan started to step back with Micro, and the police officer decided to bash him in the face twice with the shield as he was stepping back. Which obviously he was like, get him to step back now, and he's like, I'm trying. And then as like Dan was literally about to move back, like, he was stepping back, and then the police officer just decided to go bang, bang in his face. And I'm like, And of course that's just going to make him even more angry, because he's like, he was stepping down, he was going to be like, alright, I'm just going to fuck off now. But the police officer decided to inflame the situation so much more. There is an IOPC hearing into why he did that, but I have a feeling he's going to get away with that because Dan's been arrested for violent misconduct and pleaded guilty to it. I have a feeling that he'll just get away with that now.
It'll get thrown out.
Yeah.
You're right, Michelle. You're right on every facet of that. Starmer has emboldened the cops to a point now where they almost feel like they're above justice and above the law, and it's becoming more and more prevalent in the UK.
Yeah.
And you see this theme of cops getting hostile because they're basically given the free rein to do so.
100%.
And that's the big problem we've got right now.
Yeah, 100%. Like, we've had personal stories where we've had false reports put against me and my partner, and we've had like riot cops come into our house with full-on guns when we just sat there eating dinner with a glass of wine.
I'll add to that. It's because of I was quite a naughty boy in a previous life. So my name, when it's involved with the police, flags for armed response units because of where I used to live and the people I used to associate with before I reformed myself. So their proportional response is to come with weapons.
Yeah, but I will add as well, like, me and Micro have been together 8 years nearly, which is weird to say, but we've been together 8 years nearly, and the time that happened, we'd been together around 5-ish, and he had been out of trouble, away from
Reformed,
all of that, for
valuable member of the community.
a year before I'd even met him. So 6 years by that point.
It was going on 7 years.
Going on 7 years, and they still decided to turn up and damn nearly kicked our door down, even though we were just eating dinner, and it was all over false reports.
I'm gonna decline to comment on that, Meatball. But there were some very, very naughty boys that I used to kick about with, and yeah, I'll just leave that there.
Yeah, we'll just continue with the case. So I can't remember where we were in this video. So we were talking about. Oh yeah, she'd gone to the ice cream shop with the other 17-year-old. I don't understand why she was hanging out with 17-year-olds in itself.
First, the two had since grown close. They had driven around town a bit chatting and then decided to go to Hank's Frozen Custard to grab some ice cream. They texted a mutual friend, Tyree Jeter, to see if he was interested in joining. The pair stopped off at Rachel's house very briefly so that she could pick up a
I learned
sweatshirt.
that in my
Rachel told her mother that they were going to
Meatball.
Hank's and said
Don't worry.
goodbye. They picked up Tyree on the way
No
over.
comments the way
It was
forward.
about 10:40 p.m. when Lauren and Tyree returned Rachel to her house.
We love an NFA.
Lauren watched while Rachel reached the side door to the house, opened the door, and then they pulled out of the drive and left. Just inside the door of the house, only a few
we've
feet
got
away,
audits
sat
going on as
Rachel's
well.
father, Joe, in his usual
Hello,
evening
Britton
spot, a
Audits.
chair
Hello,
within a few
Britton
feet of the door.
Audits.
He does not hear his daughter approach, and he does not
Excuse
hear
me.
anyone open the door. Less than 5 minutes later, neighbors reported hearing at least 6 gunshots ring out across the otherwise quiet neighborhood. Rachel died at the scene, shot several times. She was just outside her parents' home on the drive. One police officer, Kenneth Watkins, is turned away from the scene when he arrives.
Hey,
Officer
trouble's about.
Watkins had been one of the 2 policemen who had discovered Rachel in the car with her young student 2 years before, but he was also a close friend of the Del Tondos and Lauren's father. He was placed on critical incident leave and removed from the case. Reports would emerge
was
later.
that?
Officer Watkins had been one of the 2 policemen who had discovered. One police officer, Kenneth Watkins, is turned away from the scene when he arrives. Officer Watkins had been one of the 2 policemen who had discovered Rachel in the car with her young student 2 years before, but he was also a close friend of the Del Tondos and Lauren's father. He was placed on critical incident leave and removed from the case. Reports would emerge later that a private letter was sent by another Aliquippa police officer accusing Officer Watkins of contaminating the scene. No further information was made available on this point. The chief of police at the time said it was an internal matter, and the county district attorney insists there is nothing there. Theories of what happened to Rachel that night were mixed with rumors both in Aliquippa and the broader news media.
So he was one of the officers that supposedly found her in the car. So was he also the officer that wrote the report a year later? Because it would have had to have been one of the officers, because one of the 2 officers that wrote the report, right? Because it can't just be like a random officer who found the body cam footage and was like, I'm going to write a report on this. It has to be one of the officers that found her in the car with the student. But is that maybe why the report wasn't written until a year later?
Sorry, Bear's cracking me up in the chat. So is
no.
me, Susan. They're cracking me up.
Oh god.
It could be independent authority, because sometimes they have people who review this stuff and then write reports on it. So it could be that.
Because the officer was friends with her father and a close friend of the family. So could that be why it wasn't reported straight away?
Possibly.
Okay.
Sometimes
kind of
they
on
sit
a
on their
cursory
hands with
level.
this stuff, though, don't they? They wait
Yeah.
for further information, or they're seeking to suppress it.
Yeah.
Because we don't know anything, really. Something just sounds strange to all of this.
Yeah, the backstories are the strange part of this whole particular case. And as a criminal investigator, and as all criminal investigators, we don't believe in any coincidences whatsoever. So all these backstories will be looked at to see if there's any connection to the crime. Now, the interesting thing I find is that 6 to 12 rounds being fired somewhere in that vicinity indicates to me that it's sort of a semi-automatic handgun or rifle. If it's a handgun, then that means to me that they unloaded the whole clip, the whole magazine, every round in the magazine into Rachel, which is sort of an overkill shooting here, which could indicate that there's a personal issue going on here and that the perpetrator knew Rachel.
That in itself is false reporting, can I say? Because even though it's not false reporting, it is. But it says, teacher killed after she's allegedly found in steamy car with boy. It'd been over a year by that point. So that makes it out like she was found with a a boy in a car and then was killed, like straight after. But it'd been over a year by that point, so that could have been completely unrelated.
It could have been, yeah, you're right. I love the fact everyone's taken to bullying Susan now.
Oh, leave Susan alone, like. Susan's lovely.
She gives as good as she gets, innit? Proper woman, our Susan.
No, you're right, Michelle. I don't see the kid doing this. I don't think he had any motive, really.
Ill intentions or malice.
Yeah, it does. It just. I completely understand why you want me to look into this case. It is very, very confusing.
That there's a personal issue going on here, and that the perpetrator knew Rachel when the crime was committed. So I'm sure law enforcement is looking at all this, and also the indication that they're tight-lipped just means to me that they have some very good leads that they're tracking down right now.
Well, wouldn't it also be potentially a murder for hire, that someone shows up with some automatic weapon? Yeah.
Yes.
Initial assessments by the department determined that it was a crime of passion, that Rachel was perhaps lured from the door by someone that she knew, perhaps someone that she trusted, and then surprised by the attack. It had happened quickly and at close range. Attention immediately turns to Sheldon Jeter. Sheldon was a bit of a hometown hotshot, a star football player with the high school team in a town that produces disproportionate number of pro athletes. Rachel had met him years earlier when he was in elementary school and struck up her friendship with him much later. Lauren Watkins reported that Sheldon had been extremely interested in her and Rachel's movements the night of the shooting. Lisa Del Tondo says that Sheldon, now 20 years old, remained obsessive over Rachel.
Susan's timed him out.
The morning after Mother's Day, police arrive at Sheldon's apartment with a search warrant. He is reportedly emotionless when he is told of her death. They seize his cell phone, believing that Sheldon sent texts to his brother, Tyree Jeter, who was with Rachel that night. These texts indicate that Sheldon was both very interested in their whereabouts and appeared to be tracking them that evening. First off, Sheldon messaged Lauren to ask if he had just seen the two women driving around. Between 10 p.m. and 10:30, he sends Tyree 4 messages. At 10:07, he messages, "Is y'all there already?" 8 minutes later, "I got left, huh?" followed by some smiley face emojis. 4 minutes after that, "Who all you with?"
We found you
then
lot.
at 10:30, clearly aware of what the group's plans were, he says, "Hank's closed." Rachel is dropped off at home about 10 minutes later. Rachel's current boyfriend is also questioned by police. Rashawn Bolton is the older half-brother of both Sheldon and Tyree. He had been in a relationship with Rachel for 6 months and was well-liked by her parents. Rashawn was out of town on Mother's Day. He would tell police a similar narrative about Sheldon. His younger brother appeared jealous and possessive of Rachel, which had led him to at least once question what the nature of their relationship had been. He was never able to receive a clear answer.
The most recent piece of information is an interview between police and this man, Rashawn Bolton, the older brother of Sheldon.
What's going on in the chat, man?
We're doing naughty things.
For God's sake. Oh no, I'm gonna leave you guys fighting.
According to the Warren, Rashawn told police he was in a serious relationship with the victim since December 2017. He told police about an altercation from 3 months ago when he and the victim were outside of his home. His younger brother Sheldon showed up and reportedly said, "That expletive told me she was with Amy," and then said to her, "If my brother wasn't here, I'd expletive you up."
3 days later, police returned to Sheldon's home with a second search warrant, which says police were looking for a 9mm gun and any other firearms, ammunition, a hoodie, bloodstained clothing, written correspondence about or to Rachel, notebooks, cell phones, and computers. Police found no weapons or ammo and seized...
Yeah, I was gonna say, if he did shoot her, by the time that they'd gone and found, like, to search his house, all of that would have been gone. You wouldn't keep bloodstained clothing and the weapon that you just killed someone with in your home. You would get rid of that shit instantly. Like, literally as soon as you do it.
You'd be pretty stupid not to, wouldn't you?
But to be fair, I have seen cases where, like, they're like, "Oh, I'll just wash it." And then they find, like, blood-stained clothes. Or they just hidden it in like a corner in their bedroom. There's many cases where they found like evidence that hits the nail on the coffin.
There's also the option for
Only a
planning
few-
evidence that the American police are very well known for.
Yeah, I mean, surely they would have done that if they wanted it to be the Skeeter guy. Or not Skeeter, yeah, Sheldon guy. If they wanted it to be him, that would have been the time to plant evidence, I'm sure.
Notebooks. Sheldon also voluntarily handed over clothing he was wearing on Mother's Day, although police paperwork indicates surveillance video from an unknown location on that day shows he was actually wearing different clothing. Police also spoke with Lauren Watkins, of course. There are two aspects of Lauren's account that raise some eyebrows but do not seem to be weighing heavily on the investigation. First, Lauren says she did not separate from Rachel all evening, but she did send her a text at one point that read, "Go for a walk, I'll come pick you up after." This text was reportedly sent only minutes before dropping Rachel off at her home, shortly before she was killed. Lauren claimed later that she wanted a chance to lose Tyree from the group so that the two could, talk and gossip and stuff like that. There are some who question why you would text the person that you are sitting next to in a car, but this could have just been a teenager's logic at work and nothing more. The second curiosity lies in her account of watching Rachel not only reach the side door, but that she also opened it. She later said she went for the screen door but did not fully open it. Joe Del Tondo says there is no way the door was opened in those few minutes without him being aware of it, given his position only a few feet away inside.
So far, attorneys for former fiancé Frank Catropa and sometime boyfriend Sheldon Jeter say their clients deny any involvement in Rachel Del Tondo's murder. But yesterday,
Why would he
Jeter's
kill his best
attorney
friend and then
raised
kill her
a
as
third
well?
possibility,
Seems weird, doesn't
saying
it?
Del Tondo had received death threats because she was about to testify before a grand jury about corruption in Aliquippa.
It's hard to
She was
imagine
about to
that
testify in front of a grand jury about corruption in Aliquippa. And then is killed. So she was about to go under oath and say shit. Yeah, that's fishy, man.
that fear and those death threats had nothing to do with the fact that she was
Finest, as
shot, within days of her alleged testimony in front of a grand jury.
I've just got the image of a
The police do not make any arrests.
under BPA's bed.
Oh no.
Like the toys from Toy Story in Sid's house. Just traumatized. Too stiff to move.
I can't. I can't. He's probably just reading all of this. Oh, there you go.
In the first month of the investigation, they face a series of distractions. First, on the 6th of June 2018, Chief Don Couch was placed on administrative leave with pay. The city solicitor said this was due to personal issues and did not relate to the murder investigation. He is succeeded by Assistant Chief Percival, whom we have already met. Chief Percival lasts 2 days. On the 8th of June, he is charged with distributing explicit material, a video apparently, to a 17-year-old girl. He claims this was done in error. The girl in question? Lauren Watkins. Captain
What?
Roberts.
Wait, what? Okay, there's a lot about this that is inherently wrong in itself. So he distributes... What did he distribute? A video of what? Was it him? To her? And he's investigating the murder. So he lasts 2 days. And then they're like, you've been sending dick pics to Lauren. Well, I'm assuming it's dick pics because it's explicit material.
Sealock took over as acting chief and, by extension, the ongoing murder investigation. He was the third person to hold the role inside of 1 week.
Well, I just spoke to the new chief. He's the third Aliquippa chief in a week or so. He says he understands the conflict. He understands the controversy. He says that's the very reason why he's pulling his department out of this investigation. He says, look, Marty, it's just the right thing to do.
Officials said that the coronavirus pandemic placed an unavoidable hold on the investigation as all the agencies that had become involved could no longer properly coordinate in person. By this time, both the FBI and ATF had been pulled in by the Beaver County detectives. Despite the slowdown, local press began reporting in May of 2021 that a grand jury was hearing evidence for a potential indictment in the case.
That for the past 18 months, a state investigating grand jury has been weighing all the evidence in the murder of Rachel Del Tondo. That grand jury is wrapping up and is soon.
It is met with some sort of controversy. So, was it? Would you be able to clear that up for me? So I'm guessing he was sending explicit videos of himself to Lauren, or could it have been that he was sending inappropriate videos involving the case because he was the chief investigator into her case? So could he have been sending videos of like evidence maybe to her? Because it didn't exactly, did it say explicit or did it say, I'm not sure what it said. It said, we'll go back.
Leave with pay. The city solicitor said this was due to personal issues and did not relate to the murder investigation. He is succeeded by Assistant Chief Percival, whom we have already met. Chief Percival lasts 2 days. On the 8th of June, he is charged with distributing explicit material, video apparently, to a 17-year-old girl. He claims this was done in error. The girl in question, Lauren Watkins.
So, explicit material to her, I'm guessing that means it's like videos of himself, because explicit only means one thing in my mind.
Generally,
it wasn't released. Yeah, so he was noncing on her. But surely she would be like witness number one, surely. So, and he says it was done in error. So could it have been that, playing devil's advocate, he did accidentally send it to... But why are you sending that stuff on your work phone? Because surely you would have a work... Especially if you're a police officer, you should have a work phone and a personal phone. Why are you putting that stuff on your work phone?
Oh, sorry, I just caught what Mr. Meatballs put in the chat. I'm crying.
It sounded like fresh snack. Oh my god. That's awful. That's awful. Yeah, so I would assume that he's sending explicit videos of himself to her, but that's
Captain Robert Seelock took over as acting chief and, by extension, the ongoing murder investigation. He was the third person to hold the role inside of 1 week.
Well, I just spoke to the new chief. He's the third Aliquippa chief in a week or so. He says he understands the conflict. He understands the controversy. He says that's the very reason why he's pulling his department out of this investigation. He says, look, Marty, it's just the right thing to do.
Done in error. Yeah, I
Officials
know.
said that the coronavirus pandemic placed an unavoidable hold on the investigation as all the agencies that had become involved could no longer properly coordinate in person. By this time, both the FBI and ATF had been pulled in by the Beaver County detectives. Despite the slowdown, local press began reporting in May of 2021 that a grand jury was hearing evidence for a potential indictment in the case.
That for the past 18 months, a state investigating grand jury has been weighing all the evidence in the murder of Rachel Del Tondo. That grand jury is wrapping up and is soon expected to recommend criminal homicide charges be filed in that case, focused primarily on Sheldon Jeter.
So what has Sheldon
Apparently
been up to?
you've been finding socks around the house, babe.
What is it?
Not ones like BBA's. They're just socks that I leave when we're about to get into the throws. They're just random socks that I leave as little landmines around the house for fun.
It's not socks I find around the house, it's fucking boxer shorts, man.
Oh yeah, that's criminal.
Random sweaty boxers everywhere, like.
Yeah, well they come off quickly, don't they, you know?
A former Aliquippa football star is sitting behind bars here tonight after state police charged him in the shooting death of another Aliquippa man.
On Friday, the 5th of May, 2020, almost exactly 2 years after Rachel's death, Sheldon is seen on security cameras leaving his home with Tyreek Pugh, a friend and roommate that was considered family.
Okay.
The two had been together earlier in the evening, and they were going out to get some ice cream. Just before midnight, officers were sent to Keel Street in Aliquippa following a report of a man lying in the road. There, they found Tyreek, who had been shot multiple times. Surveillance footage and cell phone tracking did not align with the story provided by Sheldon. A search found a matching pistol and ammunition in Sheldon's possession. Sheldon denied any involvement. The case went to trial in July 2021. There was not a lot of ambiguity in this case. He was caught on camera with Tyreek, his cell phone placed him at the scene, and the forensics matched items found in the search. Sheldon was convicted of first-degree murder. When the jury's verdict was handed down for the murder of Tyreek Pugh, some people from the town that had not been attending the earlier portions of the trial turned up to hear the verdict read. One of these people looked to the jury box and recognized one of the individuals sitting there, a neighbor of Rachel Del Tondo's. Juror number 3 lived only a few doors down from her. Not only that, she was married to one of Sheldon's relatives,
you better kick PBA
and in the
then.
process of divorcing said relative. Sheldon's lawyers immediately sought a mistrial. The defense motion for a hearing to seek a mistrial based on the juror number 3's close ties to the case were denied. The judge said it wasn't grounds for a mistrial, but...
Oh, you filthmonger.
Oh, that's...
also that there was overwhelming evidence that Sheldon is guilty. Sheldon was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. It is the maximum sentence for first-degree murder under state guidelines. The last news of a potential indictment for Rachel's case was in May 2021, and so far, no charges have been made and no suspects have been formally named.
So, they definitely believe it's her. I hate comments like this. So I wonder if there's anything else on him. What was his name? Tyreek. Doesn't look like anyone's done a video on the Tyreek case. Yeah, it doesn't look like anyone's done a video on the Tyreek case.
Meat's got me there. Stop crusty sock abuse, hashtag free crusty socks, and then you hear sock lives matter.
Oh my god.
Women are dangerous. So to summarise, no crusty socks? I bet Susan's found a few in her time.
I'm sure she has. So... If I go like this, and then like this.
Have you got the light on the camera, babe? Or is that just your screen?
That's just because my pale self is being exposed by the white background.
You may have to sit back a tad, just a tad.
I can't reach my thing otherwise. I'm too short for that.
Don't worry, guys. I'll get her a camera stand. I'm ordering one on Amazon now.
So, Michelle, do you believe that he didn't kill this person either?
Oh, these lots' humour is unmatched. I found my people. Why? I can't even comment. Nobody wants to see me playing CS:GO. Everyone wants to watch you, babe. You're too pretty.
Aw. I mean, I'm interested that no one. It all seems to connect back to the Rachel murder. There's not actually much information on this guy's murder, which is quite sad because he actually went to jail for this person's murder. I know I'm using.
I'm against illegal socks. Oh.
Yeah, I was nervous no one would come to my live, but I've been more than blessed with all of you lot, even though all you're doing is talking about crusty socks.
Crusty sock lives matter.
Yeah, so he was being investigated for Rachel already. So he knew not to leave a gun in his possession if he was to actually use it on his best friend. Yeah, that's a good point. Why would he have a gun in his possession if he knew he was being investigated for the death of Rachel? Interesting. He was killed in the exact same manner as well, no? He was shot multiple times, which is the exact same Rachel died.
Yeah. Very astute observation, darling.
Yes.
Why have we got people like Mulca in the fucking the legal industry, eh? She'd be a way better bloody lawyer. Or a way better detective than half of these trollops we got there. Do they even train?
I would actually love to be a detective, but I don't think I'd be able to keep up with all the legal procedures and stuff like that.
Yeah, it can get a bit much, can't it? Gets a bit dark sometimes as well.
Give me a second, guys. I'm going to grab my fan because it's very hot in this room.
Oh, I've got one blowing on me gonads right now in honour of Meatball. Meatball will remember. Feels a bit weird to say I've got something blowing on me gonads in honour of Meatball.
It's blowing on your meatballs.
Did she just do a Borat? Yes, she does. We quote Borat almost on a daily basis.
Oh yeah, sorry. I do it without even realising now.
I've trained her well.
Yeah, I just do it without even realising now.
BBA's give you one as well, the Luke Mitchell case in Scotland.
Luke Mitchell.
We are in the UK, BBA.
Luke Mitchell. Scotland. Oh, I can't spell. Scotland. Jodie Jones, is that it? I hate ones like that. Scottish murder case from June 2003. So a 14-year-old girl was murdered in Scotland by her 14-year-old boyfriend Luke Mitchell. She was found murdered with a knife behind a wall on a path where she would invariably meet her boyfriend, having set out to meet him that afternoon. Mitchell, who claimed to have found her almost immediately after a search party set out that evening to find the missing girl, rapidly became the suspect and was brought to trial in 2004. It was discovered that a knife that he regularly carried around with him, and which could have been the murderer's, had mysteriously disappeared, as had his coat, which he had been seen wearing that night, and which could have held incriminatory forensic evidence. The suggestion that these had been disposed of to hide evidence, equally suspicious, had been that these items were then replaced by his mother, who denied the existence of the previous items. The pouch for the missing knife was found, and Mitchell had marked on it Jodie's initials, JJ, with 1989 to 2003, her birth and death, as well as a quote from Jones's favourite band Nirvana saying, The finest day I ever had was when tomorrow never came. At trial, Mitchell and his mother claimed he had been at home at the time, but phone records suggested otherwise, and his brother admitted, as confirmed by computer records, that he had actually been watching porn, saying he would only have done so if no one else had been at home. As a result of this, the mother was additionally charged with perjury, although this was ultimately dropped when Mitchell was found guilty of the murder in 2005. The brother, who originally gave a different account and admitted to having agreed with his mother what to tell police when he just spoke to the police, had also initially been charged with perverting the course of justice before telling the account he had given at trial. Mitchell continues to protest his innocence, and several attempts to overturn his conviction has failed. A large amount of discredited speculation has been made about the case, including inaccurate claims that no DNA linked Mitchell to the murder and that this indicates innocence, and the family of the victim have endured online abuse and false accusations from Mitchell's supporters. Jones's family said they have always remained satisfied of Mitchell's guilt. Ooh, okay. This fan is making my eyes dry out. There you go. I have not heard of this one. Where's my Word document? I will put that.
Sorry, I had to pee. I'm back.
What was his name? I'll put Jody Jones. I'll see
Yeah,
if
in
I
relation
find
to
a video on that one. Yeah.
in
sorry.
reply to BBA, I'm going to if so, all links are in my server for all the videos. Ah, brilliant. Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm going to, if you have me on Discord, I'm going to make a Muka Mysteries Discord, because she hasn't got one yet. She didn't feel like she had enough community people to make one.
No. No, I love cases like this. I don't know if any of you have watched the videos that I've done previously.
Oh, nice.
I also have an opportunity to go visit Luke. Oh, that's insane. Where is he actually being held? Do you know? Prison? Where is he being held? That would be insane. Imagine actually... H&P shots in Lanarkshire. Oh, that's in Scotland. Oh, of course it would be, because he's in Scotland, but... So he's been in jail for 20 years now, right? He never got a fair trial. In between Glasgow and Edinburgh. Yeah, that's crazy. I wonder if... Well, you said there was videos in your thing, right? In your Discord.
I'm in the Discord now. I'll shoot you an invite.
I just clicked the invite that was in the chat.
Oh, good stuff.
I don't care about SpongeBob.
Yeah, fuck off, SpongeBob.
I'm in so many servers, I can't even find it.
It is me. You've just abused the Discord. Don't worry, Susan.
There you go. Luke Mitchell case. There you go. Can I watch this video? Oh, it's 45 minutes long. We'll watch it anyway. Can I? Open link. There you go.
14-year-old.
I love the Scottish accent. I don't know why. He's being
It
held
is a
nature
killer
pretty
accent,
short.
isn't it?
As soon as I heard 14-year-old, I was like, yes. Sorry about my awful Scottish accent impression there, but.
Mrs. B's in the Discord as well. I'm cracking up at this Discord.
Mrs. Meat. We will watch this one together. Oh, this is part 2 of 2. I feel like we need part 1 of 1. This one. Yeah, there you go.
It was late at night, it was dark, it was in the woods. I was shining the...
Can you change my... Okay, can you do that or can I do that? Changing the title for my stream.
I don't think you can yet on YouTube. I tried to do it yesterday. Not that I know
Okay,
of, at least,
fine.
anyway.
Open Studio? Edit. Yeah, you can.
How can you? Oh, I fucked that up yesterday. Oh, I look forward to being active in that Discord. I'll smash a Amulka Mysteries Discord tonight as well. I'll do a bunch of channels and cases and stuff. I'll get to work on it tonight. Well, actually, I might do it after I come back from work. It's quite late.
Right. We're going to watch this. So, has there been any other suspects, or was it always just him?
It was late at night, it was dark, it was in the woods. I was shining the torch ahead of me and I saw something light and white.
Is that him speaking?
And as I got closer, I realised that it was Jodie. And she was dead.
So is he the suspect in this, do you think?
He's the apparent.
It's being described by police as one of the most violent murders in a generation.
Yeah.
So this would have been a bloodbath.
14-year-old schoolgirl
Yeah,
killed
that's it,
in
mate. I
broad
got
daylight.
work to do
Jodie Jones had
tomorrow,
everything to live
so
for, but her life was cut cruelly
There's so
short
many
when
plates
she was
spinning at the moment.
brutally
I don't want
attacked.
them all to come crashing down.
She'd put up an enormous fight.
There was evidence of a struggle. The area was heavily bloodstained.
She was virtually decapitated.
This was probably the most shocking and horrific murder in Scottish criminal history.
For her, though. He does such a good job.
Children being accused of horrendous crimes tends to attract a massive amount of...
I'm gonna let Micro. Sorry.
Smashing a snus in.
Yeah. Sperm was found on her body, but it wasn't Luke's. Okay, that's very suspicious. I'm gonna let Micro entertain you for 30 seconds whilst I go to the toilet.
Yay! Shall I quickly run in there and get me willy out? No, I don't think I can do that. What should I do? Should I sing a song? God save our gracious King. I don't really know the words. I am a dick. I apologise to the chat. I am severely autistic, or at least it feels like it anyway. What's that? Is that a jobby? She's dropping a jobby. Oh, I'm gonna have some good fun telling the lads tomorrow about you lot.
Here you go. I'm back.
I'm the king of waffling, don't worry about that, mate. You don't know how to think. That's the words.
He was a Satan worshipping, scary Gothic character.
This is a little village, and
What?
we've got a devil worshipper.
Did you see what BBH was
You
like?
can just imagine the
No
fear.
DNA of Luke was found on her body, and none of Jodie's DNA was ever found on Luke.
Mitchell was convicted and jailed for a minimum of 20.
Get rid of all the evidence.
I doubt he would have even. He was 14. I doubt he would have even. She was nearly decapitated. You think a 14-year-old boy is going to be able to do that with a knife?
Good point. I mean, I'm not going to speak for my previous adventures as a young lad, but I knew about petty baths when I was like 12.
Hello,
I'll
Lee.
leave it there. Hey,
The
Lee.
story
Thanks
is
for popping in
familiar.
there.
Yeah, I've been put onto it by Bear. All evidence was circumstantial. I mean, it'll be super interesting that you have an opportunity to go see him and see what he has to say.
Yeah, I agree.
Are you gonna do like a formal interview with him and like record it, or is it gonna be one where you like write notes down and do a video on it after? I would love to be able to go interview someone like that, but I don't know if I'd ever be able to have the opportunity to do that.
She wants to do it soon. I'm working on it for her, trying to get her to be able to interview and various things. So we'll see how that pans out.
20 years.
Mrs. Jones, are you happy that justice has been served today?
Welcome to my little state.
I've been locked up for a crime I did not commit.
In the chat.
I can't be more clear. I absolutely did not kill Jodie.
They won't allow it. Not even an audio recording.
What? Surely, I was going to say, surely you could have an audio recording device, right?
I could maybe understand a video recording because you wouldn't be able to
Security.
record the inside of a prison, but surely you'd be able to like record the audio on your phone.
Listen, Piers Morgan got an interview with one of the biggest killers in the world and sat there opposite him and had a full fucking interview. But I guess you need a certain amount of clout.
There's loads of documentaries on like Netflix and stuff of people doing full-blown interviews and documentaries with people inside prisons. So that's a strange one. I'll be surprised if you can't even do an audio recording, because what are you going to record in an audio recording that they wouldn't want you to get, you know? It's just going to be him speaking and you speaking.
Guilty by the media before he ever got to trial. There seems to be a lot of that in British media. That a lot of people, it is supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, but you often find it's quite the opposite with British media, especially. They're fucking nightmares.
Dalkeith's the biggest town in this area. Originally a market town, about 8 miles from Edinburgh. In a sort of semicircle, there's maybe half a dozen little interlinked villages. Some of them were mining villages, some of them grew up out the market town of Dalkeith. Nothing ever really happens here. It's
Is that the
an
whole
ordinary
village?
place with
That's a tiny place if that's the whole village. Obviously it goes back there as well, but that's tiny.
ordinary people.
Teenagers Jodie Jones and Luke Mitchell lived in the neighbouring villages of East Houses and New Battle. They had been dating for 5 months.
I met her a few times, not a lot, but I met her a few times.
Dr. Sandra Lee.
Typical
Who's that?
14-year-old. Shy, but not to the awkward stage, and not cocky. Just
Who's Dr. Sandra Lee, and is she... Lee?
Oh, BBA's in on this. He's got down and dirty on this one, hasn't he?
Leading criminologist specialising in miscarriages of justice. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, that's
big, that.
That's massive.
It's very big, that.
Oh, the one at start. Her. Oh, that's insane.
Just a lovely, well-mannered wee girl.
30th of June 2003. Jodie and Luke arranged to meet as usual after dinner.
A very, very ordinary Monday. Couldn't have been more ordinary. But as it turned out, it wasn't, was it?
I've had my fingers in a few pies over the years, mate. I understand.
Jodie doesn't arrive to meet Luke, and just
Don't
after
think we're
10
talking about the same
p.m.,
pies,
the family
though.
realise she hasn't been seen since 5 o'clock.
Why are you
A
giggling,
search
you naughty
party
broad?
is arranged to find her.
Luke came to me in a bit of a state saying, Jodie's missing. And he borrowed the torch and off they went.
Luke meets Jodie's family at the top of Rowansdyke Path, a woodland shortcut connecting both their homes.
Waiting for him at the top of the path were Judy's sister Janine, her gran Alice, and Janine's boyfriend Stephen Kelly. So they all set off down the path, and they're just past this break in the wall, and Luke goes over the wall and he calls out, I think there's something here. The sister's boyfriend Stephen Kelly then goes over the wall, and the granny, well, she wants to see for herself what's there. And she started screaming. Jodie had been beaten. Her hair had been pulled out by the roots. She'd been strangled. Her throat was cut between 12 and 20 times.
Jesus.
She was virtually decapitated.
Jodie Jones.
And they think a 14-year-old boy did that. That would have to be a hench 14-year-old boy to be able to. Especially, wow. Okay.
Was found hidden in woodland on the other side of a wall running alongside a path. Tonight there is a very real, deep sense of shock that a crime like this has happened here.
I'm not sure if I can watch this.
Oh no, it's done it again. That's the kind of guerrilla journalism that we need more of, to be honest, BBA.
Yeah,
Getting actually down onto the ground.
Will it come back if I just get off of this?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. They done this to you.
They always do it. They're always looking for policy violations.
Yeah, they always are. That is an interesting one. Can you post a link for me, please? I can mod you and allow you to post links.
Yeah, it should come back after a few minutes, I think.
Can they still hear me?
I think so. Don't want anyone investigating the crimes. I imagine so.
No, definitely not. Which was the one that I want to look into? The bridge water.
There we go. It's back on now, babe. Just thought I'd update
everyone. Yeah, thank you. I wasn't sure if you guys could hear me or not. Is this the one you were talking about, Lee? I'll play that one in a second. I'm just double checking with Lee. Is this the one that you were talking about? The Bridgewater murders?
I think so, yeah.
High profile miscarriage of justice.
Well, that's a good point. Lee just put, if anyone wants to watch some really crazy true stories, Fargo is the best series I've ever seen. We've just finished Blacklist, which is like an American drama to do with corruption. And if you've not watched Blacklist on Amazon, seriously go give that a watch. It's
so
fantastic.
Cool. Reddington.
Oh, it's so good. So I think Fargo will be the next one because she's really into that, and so am I. I wasn't at first, but now I'm like really into it. I'm a convert.
I will. Okay, yeah, right. Oh, this is from you. Okay. Oh wow, you got a lot of subscribers.
Lots.
Kelly was Jodie's sister's boyfriend at the time, and one of the people there when Jodie was found. His blood was also discovered on Jodie's bra. Okay, what? That's very interesting. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, I was getting a warning. Yeah, that's insane.
Sorry.
They also suggested that the transfer may have happened in the wash. What?
Does that make sense?
Jodie's sister lived in a different house to Jodie. Jodie lived with her mum in East Houses, and her sister lived with her gran in Mayfield. They didn't wash their clothes in the same washing machine or house. There was no mention of the blood on the bra. Wow. Okay. Was none of that brought up in trial or in court? Was it put as like inadmissible evidence? I guess. None of Jodie's sister's DNA was on the t-shirt. The t-shirt was described as smelling of fresh laundry detergent, suggesting that it had been recently washed. The borrowed t-shirt story was accepted in court, even though it was never confirmed. He was never considered a suspect. What?
What?
How? None of Luke Mitchell's DNA was ever found on Jodie Jones, and yet he was convicted and remains in prison. That's insane.
That is insane.
Wow. That's gonna give you a like. That was crazy. So, do you think it was Luke Kelly? Is that his name? This was used in court. I also have all the court transcripts that are interesting. Wow, okay. Jesus. Do you have more videos on your channel that I could watch about it?
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. We'll deep dive that. What?
That's crazy.
Yeah, thank you for that, Phoebe. Look at all that content. We got a new channel that we can binge watch when we're eating food now. Yeah, I appreciate the, she loves deep diving into all this. You've given her so many cases that she is just absolutely obsessed. The whole way through dinner, she's like, ah!
Stephen Kelly. So they've, last year, Scotland police destroyed 75% of evidence that could have Luke freed. Stephen Kelly. Wow. So all of this was put forward in court, I'm guessing, by his defence attorneys. That's crazy.
We could do a joint effort of investigation as well if you
if you're up
if you
for it, 100%.
Yeah, she'd be well up for. Well, I can't speak for her, but I know she'd be well up for doing some digging and investigating herself. That's for sure.
Wow. Yeah, that's so you got that left me a bit dumbfounded, to be honest, because I can't believe that they've just been like, oh, it must have been the 14-year-old boy. The lad was stitched up by police and local kids. Channel 5 documentary you were playing is definitely worth watching. Guarantee you get hooked on the case. Yeah, I'll watch that in my own time, along with the other one that got me taken down was the other case. This was the case that you suggested, Lee, wasn't it? Oh,
yeah,
that would be
Bridgewater
amazing. The Bridgewater Murders. I'll see if I can.
You got a lot to focus on now, haven't you? Trying not to spin too many plates. I think we'll definitely start looking to do breakdowns of these and do some digging as well. And yeah, she's going to get right into this now. I'm not going to have no whoopee now for about a month. You've given her too much work.
I don't want to watch like an actual documentary on it because I think it would
just get taken down.
Yeah.
You've got me addicted to this shit now. Beforehand, I was like, oh, I don't get it, what she's doing, why are you so interested in it? And all you lot and her over the last couple of weeks have got me well addicted to this shit now. I'm going to have to make myself a tinfoil out of the lot.
I'll find something for these. We'll read some news stories about this one. Mock is going to be busy.
He's absolutely clapped me there. I haven't even got a comeback for that one.
So
he's absolutely caught me bare cheeked there. He's had me right round the corner.
I've looked into this before, actually. I think
one side like Terminator and the other like Mr. Bean.
Oh my god. Yeah, that. So the Bridgewater Murders. I have a lot to look into now.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
I was struggling enough as it is.
I think I said on one side. I think I said that my next case will be the Rachel Del Tondo one because I've already got a video planned for Friday. It's done pretty much. I just need to make sure the subtitles are correct. Just to give a preview of what my next case is. It is a... what's his name? I've completely, like, my mind's gone a bit blank because I'm just still a bit dumbfounded by the Luke Mitchell case.
Information overload.
It was... I think I can... I know what I can do. There you go, that's his name. This guy. He was murdered in his house. I was speaking about this earlier. This is the next video that I've got coming out Friday. I upload every Friday. She went into his house. I've got a live interview with one of the Cardiff 3 lined up, but again, need to pull my finger out. If I really want to go into... Oh, it's okay, Michelle. Yeah, that case is very, very interesting. So I'll make sure to do my due diligence with that case. I'll watch that documentary in my own time, most likely tomorrow, and write my script out on it. Stephen
100%.
Greer.
We'll definitely we'll keep in touch with you guys through the Discord and stuff, and we'll make the Morka Mysteries Discord as well in due course. And if there's any, go on, sorry, babe.
Sorry, Lee. Was it a murder? Was it what's the kind of?
I've seen this Stephen Greer thing previously.
Yeah, is he a
type UK?
Extra intelligent. Is it this guy? American ufologist. Is it UK or is it? Because it just comes up with some bloke from the University of Glasgow, unfortunately.
If there's any partnership kind of videos and joint efforts as well, I think we'll be really into that. I'll kind of help her get to grips with Discord and stuff, and we'll keep in touch with you all, and we'll start doing some kind of partnership stuff.
100%.
She's very proficient with editing as well, so if there's ever a partnership opportunity and you need an editor, she is fantastic at editing. Not to put too much load on it, sorry.
It's about hidden inventions. Oh, okay. Ooh. Oh, bookmark this one. Because I feel like that's a rabbit hole that I don't want to go down yet, because I've got all of this to look into. I'll add it on to there. Okay. Normally leave someone around in the Discord. Yes, that's cool. I need to make a Morka Mysteries personal Discord for me to actually like use instead of like my personals.
Yeah, that'd be a fantastic idea. This is all stuff in the works. We're both still budding channels, so I'll be sure to make the most of having a community. I think that's the best thing to do in these circumstances, is have multiple hands working on projects. It frees up a bit of mind space for everyone then, doesn't it? Watch the PBS podcast. That's another one I'm writing to you on Discord though.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
We're also thinking of a mystery style podcast where we break down stuff as well. So having guests, you know, like BBA and some of the people from the Discord as well would be fantastic.
I'll do a little preview of a clip that I have put in my video.
For the first time, jurors in the murder trial of a white former Dallas police officer who shot and killed her black neighbor saw video from the scene. The graphic new body cam, and graphic is the word. This footage shows the chaotic moments after Amber Guyger killed Botham Jean in his own home. She claims she mistakenly thought he was in her apartment. Omar Villafranca is at the courthouse in Dallas. Omar, what did this testimony reveal? The video was very tough to watch.
We learned the results of Guyger's blood test. She did not have drugs or alcohol in her system at the time of the shooting. The jury also saw body cam video of first responding officers, and it showed Guyger just moments after the shooting and Botham Jean's final moments alive. Former Dallas police officer Amber Guyger appears frantic in this body cam video. She told investigators she mistook 26-year-old Botham Jean for a burglar in her apartment when she opened fire. Moments later, you can see one of the officers begin CPR on Jean for 7 minutes, who is face up on the floor, bleeding from a gunshot wound. Paramedics arrive about 5 minutes later. As Jean is being wheeled out of the building, surveillance video shows Guyger, who was waiting in a squad car, hugging and being comforted by fellow officers. In the courtroom, Jean's neighbor Joshua Brown said he was heading back to his apartment when he heard the interaction between Guyger and Jean, followed.
Something interesting, I didn't mention it in my video, I was going to, but this guy, he was the main witness in testimony against the officer who shot and killed him. He was also, 2 days after Amber Guyger was sentenced, he was murdered. He was killed in a supposed drug robbery. I didn't add it in there because I didn't think, after looking into it, it was connected to the case. But apparently he was going to sell, I think it was like a few keys of marijuana to some people that had travelled over 300 miles to pick up from him, which I don't know if that's I'm not very clued up about the whole American side of things, but when you travel 300 miles to try and get weed from someone, it seems a bit suspicious to me. But he was shot and killed, and the officer said that it has no link to the case whatsoever, and that it's a completely separate thing. The same private investigator that looked into Botham Jean looked into this case, and he's also stated that although there is some suspicious things that might connect the case, it does look like a completely unrelated incident. So that's the only reason I didn't add it into my video, was because it looked completely unrelated from a third source party as well. But I just thought that was a little bit of interesting information to add in there. But that's my new video that will be coming out on Friday. So yeah, and yeah, thank you, Bear, for saying that. I don't know if you've watched any of these old videos. Like, there's so much more from my first video, like over a year ago now, to my most recent video. I think I've come a long way.
Massively. So improved.
Yeah. I prefer the commentary style rather than being in front of the camera, because it's easier for me to record like that. Yeah, it's a lot easier for me to record like that. It took me a lot of time to edit these videos in comparison to my new videos. I can get a video out weekly with the new style of video that I do, compared to the old ones where it was like I was struggling to do 2 uploads a month with my old style of videos. Just because I would record and then not like it, and then record again, and then not like it, and then record again. So that. But I guess with YouTube, it's a learning process.
Cool.
Yeah. It is 9:15, so I'm probably gonna finish the stream because I would like to get into bed.
Yes. And I've got work in the morning.
Yeah, and I've got a whole bunch of research I need to do tomorrow. So, thank you everyone for joining. It was lovely to speak to you all, and thank you for all your cases. I will definitely get onto Micro about making my Mocha Discord soon. I'll probably do
100%.
another live stream. Maybe after my videos come out, so we can speak about that. And I should have hopefully done more research into all of the cases that you guys have suggested.
100%.
Separate, but could have been used as leverage. Yeah, it
Yeah,
could have been
good night.
used as leverage, 100%. But yeah, good night everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for supporting her as well. Because she's been so nervous about this. For months she's been nervous about this. So I just want to give everyone like a massive thank you from the depths of my heart. It's been so hard for me to get her to see the worth that she has as a journalist and as a creator. So I really appreciate you, and thank you for the hookup in the Discord as well. I look forward to speaking to you all soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna go make a private Mocha Mysteries Discord for me to use to actually like join your Discord, just so it's not like, because I need like a professional Discord that will also be used for my Discord community. So, but thank you all. I will be streaming again sometime this week, most likely Friday night after my videos be released. But thank you and good night everyone.
Safety and best wishes to you all. Mwah. Kisses from the Mocha Mystery team.